What's going on, DBI? It's Riz here, and this this is not a roleplay review per se. I'm just gonna put a quick disclaimer out right now. This review, this video, whatever this becomes, is gonna be a conversation. The title kind of does explain it, but I'm gonna be talking a lot about myself, story that I wrote, and a story that's very important to me. And I was actually even curious if I was going to put this up on the DBIRP channel or even my personal channel. But I feel like, yeah, I'll just put it here. This doesn't really have anything that's super pertinent to our Dragon Ball roleplay community, but it is something that's very important to me. So if you guys don't want to hear me talking about myself, you can totally skip this video. I don't know how long it's going to be. Could be 10 minutes, could be 30, could be an hour. But I just wanted to record something, get it off my chest that's been on my mind for quite some time. So without further ado, here we go. So kind of like how the title says, I got enough. And man, does it suck. It really sucks to have put so much effort into a story for as long as I have, and to have so many good parts of it, and then to get the grade that I did. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about the log that I recently put up that is part of Nova's backstory. It's actually the last piece to the first chapter of her backstory, called The Departure. And during Ike's review, Ike, thank you for doing a video review on it. He starts off, he talks about the Hope, which is the chapter right before that. And he got to the Departure and he didn't like it. He just straight up didn't like it. Didn't like the log pretty much at all. He had some nice things to say about it, but overall, it was a review for about 8.5 minutes of him just telling me, like, yo, this wasn't it. And that sucks. That doesn't feel good. It I won't say like it hurts, but it does hurt. And Ike, if you're watching this, don't feel any way. Don't feel bad. I hope you don't think that I'm attacking you. I'm not. You are 100% justified to say what you said. I agree with almost all of your points. And I just really I guess I'm making this to show people that even admins get shit reviews too, and how do we take it? As of recording this, let's see, it's been about 4 days since I got to watch Ike's review, and at first, really, it bothered me. It really did. And again, I never had any ill will. I never was like, Ike, I'm gonna bash you. You don't know what you're talking about. It was never that. I was never angry at him. I was just disappointed more in myself, and I still am, that this log turned out this way. Some of the things that he said in his review for The Departure was that a lot of things happen at once, out of nowhere, and the ending felt very rushed, and that I did not take the care that I did for the rest of them. And he's absolutely right. Like absolutely right. I got music playing in the background, so I'm just going to turn it down one notch. For those of you who don't know, like, the last Psy Harden arc is a huge biography of who Nova is as a character and how she came to be in our setting. So it's basically her prequel trilogy, right? And I'm going to look it up right now. I'm going to go into the mud and I'm going to. That's when she was last on. Hold on. I want to look up and see when did I create Nova so I can accurately tell you guys how long her story has been cooking up in my mind. Score. Character created Sunday, April 1st, 2018. So, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Over 5 years, Nova's story has been kind of in my head. For over 5 years, that's how long it's been since this story has kind of been cooking. And a little, I guess, too personal thing about me is a lot of people like to sing in the shower. Some people are stone cold silent. They just bathe their body and they exit. I think of role plays. I think of role plays. I think of role play dialogue. I think of scenarios. And any time that I have a quiet moment to myself where, I'm flying in an airplane, I'm traveling on a train, somebody else is driving somewhere, or even sometimes when I'm driving, I just look at the world around me and see how I can incorporate it into my writing. Because if I'm being completely honest, in our tier list of writers, I would say like Ike Enigmas or like tied for the best. And then surprisingly, for a lot of you, because a lot of you don't know, like Rendo and Nell are right there. And then even more recently, we have Hypo, Konsu, and I would put myself like kind of right in the smack dab in the middle, right? I like to think that I can write a good tale, but I don't really like my diction that I'm using. I can make a good story, but the characters may come off like there's just always something about my writing that I've never really fallen in love with and I never felt had that wow factor. But if I was ever going to say this is my magnum opus, this was my great story that I need to tell, it's definitely this one and another story that I kind of did a few years ago called Symphony of History, which is another character that I did a while ago. So to get to this story, and after 5 years of it being in my head, and to like kind of finish the chapter, and it falling completely flat, and it being just a big old miss and whiff, yeah, that sucks. And it's nothing but me taking a hit to my own ego and my own pride. That's what hurts. But also for basically one person that I've been writing it for, the only other person who knows the story of Ragnaros and Sun Yue and Odin and who even all these characters are, and the only person who may even care is Eichenbahn. And so I'm kind of writing this story for him. in lieu of God Hand, you get Nova's story. So yeah, it really, really sucked that I wrote something and it was dog shit. It really sucks that I wanted so bad for everything to be good and perfect, and I didn't. And again, he was absolutely right. He was 10,000% right that I rushed this chapter and this ending because, like I said, like these stories have been in my head for a very long time, for over 5 years. And if I go into the forums, and we're going to go into roleplay logs and the master arc page. The first one that I did was May of 2018, which is the meeting part 1. And it's basically just bringing these characters back into the fold, kind of getting the reader caught up with what's going on. And all of that stuff kind of started this, right? So Sun Yue being my character's follower, my character Ragnios Duskwind, who lived in an age, 500 plus years in the past, him still being alive. And I was always thinking, like, how is he still alive? What happened? And luckily, I do have the God Hand incident to kind of be this nebulous explanation to why some nonsense can happen. But we kind of find out that, okay, this character's still alive, and he has this thing that's kind of ailing him. He's trying to train out in the open wasteland of Nig Yellow, and he is transforming into this thing that he calls the primeval, and he can't really control it. So why is he even here? Oh, well, he was summoned by Odin, who was another character from my backstory. And I wanted it to be a story where it doesn't always focus about my main character. Like, these are main characters as well. Here's their scenes, and then I kept leading on and leading on, and I kept saying, like, man, we've never seen these characters interact before. We've never seen them, and it was a slow burn, right? It was a very slow burn because, and this is where I admit to coming to fault. I have all the answers. It's hard for me to feel what the reader feels, because in my mind, I know when they meet. I know when they interact. I know how and why all the things are. So, yeah, like, I want to rewrite it so bad, but at the same time, I've never been the type of person to kind of go back and retcon and rewrite things so that it's perfect. This is why in real writing you have editors and multiple editors, and you proofread shit, and it goes through this whole process to where it comes out perfect. And here we just put things in a chat channel, put it in a code converter, or use Kansu's converter, and then we just put it on the forums, and then that's it. That's its final edit. But yeah, like, I didn't let the departure. I didn't let this one cook for as long as it needed to. Some of the ideas were in my head, and really, the hope was supposed to be the departure, but I didn't know how to bridge the two together without making it seem like the log just kind of dragged on with this, like, period of nothing happening. But that last little bit, that bit with Jorik freaking out when he meets Idyu, and the part with the paladins, that's in my head. Again, I have the answers. I just didn't tell you. And that's a fault on my part. I should respect my readers more. Another criticism that Ike told me is that I didn't really answer questions without providing more questions. And he's, again, 100% right. And again, the reason is just because I know the answers, right? I know when things are going to come about. I know how they're going to come about, and I know that they're going to make sense, but I should respect my reader more to give them something. I can't just keep leading them on. I can't keep dragging them along, expecting them to follow me on this journey. I should have given them something, right? Whether it be a triumphant, like, aha, I knew it, or, man, I was way off. Just some resolution before I introduce more questions. Again, that's why I'm so upset, because this is just a falling and a failing on my part. And it sucks. It sucks. But, I mean, going forward, I hope that this is something that I learn from. I hope that this is something I don't continue to do with something that I care so deeply about. If this had been like a random log that I did. You know, I'll just take the battle with Nickmas, right? If I had screwed up some story stuff there, and I probably did, you know, I don't think I would care as much because it's just a role play that we did, you know, until far past my bedtime. And yeah, it's gonna fall flat and it's not gonna be perfect. But in a solo that again to me is so big and impactful, nah, this needs to be perfect. It needs to it needs to hit on every cylinder. It can't fail. Uh, so I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that I won't say I let everybody down. I'm sorry that it just wasn't up to what it should have been, and I really, I guess, made this video again for me so that in the future I will look back on it and say like, you know what, don't do this stuff again. You know, I don't know if you guys remember, but a while back, a actor named Bill Hader uh, posted a video, and give me 1 second. Yeah. So this is. Do they have a transcript of it? Okay. Um, I'm gonna kind of break it down. I don't want you guys to hear it, so I have it muted. But Bill Hader basically breaks down that, you know, writing is hard, and he likes writing with a partner because you get instant gratification and you can instantly figure out your bad ideas. You know, so he kind of goes on to say that if you tell somebody about your story or you have them read the script and they tell you like, yeah, it's a good story, but there's something between the dad and the mom and this that I don't like, I don't believe, right? And then they tell you how to fix it. So the person is right if they read a script, if they watch a play, if they watch a rough draft of something, and they aren't drawn into it. But the how to fix it part is where they're not right, right? And this is like telling me of, you know, there's a problem here. There's a problem with the ending of the departure. You need to let it cook more. And I'm not asking, and I'm not saying that like if he were to give me advice, I wouldn't care about it. But you know what I mean? Like, this is why people write in tandem. This is why there's rough drafts, because people will find something, and if your audience doesn't take to it like that, then there probably is an issue there, and you should revisit it. Future self, come here, just come here for a second. All right, future self. If this happens again, swallow your pride, revisit it, and rewrite it, because it wasn't right the first time. Let it cook. Let it cook for a while. Tell your wife about it. Tell your dad about it. Tell anybody who will listen about it. Just explain the story. See the reaction. And if they react in a way that doesn't give you the reaction you were looking for, come back to it. Don't beat yourself up over it. Okay? Guys, thank you for watching. And if you have any tips, or if you've ever felt this way from a review that I've done for you, please note that I will never do a review. I will never turn on my camera and get on my mic and do a review just to make someone feel bad. That is never my intention. And if that ever does become my intention, please take me off staff immediately, because I'm doing nothing to help the roleplay community. So yeah, thanks again, guys. I'm out of words. I've rambled on for 20 minutes. Thank you for your time. I've been Riz, and I will see you on the chat channel.